Live. Let me just adjust the chat really quick. Good morning. Good morning. There we go. Messages. And I left my water bottle in the car. Crap. It's all good. Got a little bit left here in the shed. No big deal. Let me go grab this motorcycle I got to work on. So, yeah, let me know down in the comment section how your morning is going. Mine is going A-OK. Not too shabby. I'll give you guys some updates, and it's kind of hard to see, but I got some stuff on the floor that's like not allowing me to do what I gotta do. So picked up the Spider-Man motorcycle. I don't know if you guys can see it. I adapted it to run on an 18 volt Ryobi battery, but there is a 12 volt converter in there, or voltage down stepper in there. But yeah, let me go ahead and let you guys know something. I did my part today, so yay me. But yeah, went, voted this morning, did some early morning voting, got that done out the way, did my due diligence. I suspect that it's the throttle. I don't suspect that it's the power converter, but we will see. If it's the throttle, then I'm gonna just throw it away. I'm not even dealing with this. But yeah, so let me know down in the comment section how your day is going, and yeah, we will get into it. So I'm gonna just walk you through the story as I'm working on this right now. Well, first and foremost, I got a phone call yesterday from my mechanic. Let me actually slide this over here if I could. See, I want to figure out like a rail system or something for this so I can easily move it. But yeah, so yeah, I got a call from my mechanic yesterday. You guys didn't see the last video. Yeah, I suspected that I fried my Subaru engine, and I got AAA to move my car from where it was to the shop. The mechanic had an opportunity to look at the Subaru yesterday, and he said it was the lower rod bearing. And I asked him, I was like, do you think it's even worth fixing? And he said, well, it's kind of hard to say because we don't know if the piston is messed up. You know, we don't know what else is going on in there. So I said, well, what do you think I should do? He said, well, your best bet is probably get another engine. So I think for right now, I'm gonna just buy another car for the winter, like another Subaru, of course, because Subaru's four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive is unmatched in my opinion. So why am I gonna trust my life in anything else for the winter? So that's just me. Especially because I live up in the Northeast, I wouldn't have it any other way, you know? Let me see. Maybe this one. Yeah, maybe this one. But yeah, that's just me. So I mean, if you guys, if you guys trust your lives with something other than a Subaru, let me know down in the comment section below. I actually picked up this hoist thing from Home Depot for like 10, 15 bucks or something like that. You can actually pull, like secure a lot of stuff, but it's not really made for hoisting. But I like it because it locks in. And I kind of broke it. I was like trying to put this new longer rope because the rope that it came with wasn't that long. But it's all good. All right, so yeah, so mechanic said that he thinks that I should buy a new motor. So I think I'll just hold off on that and just look for another Subaru. So I've been finding some on Marketplace in my area, but people are just like really sketch. Like they don't answer back. I'll message them, when can I come see it? And I just never get a response. But in other news, there we go. So I recently had a family member reach out to me. What's up, Kanban K? What's going on, man? So yeah, I recently had a family member reach out to me, and young man, 18 years old. I'm not gonna say his name, but we'll call him Jay for the purpose of the story. So Jay, I'm not really sure which parent he lives with. His mom and dad are separated. That's neither here nor there, but so he actually texted me, and basically how the conversation started was he had saw that someone had posted or reposted one of my videos on Snapchat. So I had asked him, who was it? Got to the bottom of it. He sent me the screenshot, and I said, yes, I'm aware of the company, and they have my permission. That's okay by me. So he said he wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I said, okay, that's a good idea. What kind of content? Mind you, this was all via text. Guys, make sure you guys smash that like button while you guys are in here, please. So he said he wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I said, all right, well, that's a good idea. 18 years old, he's young. All right, lots of energy. Let's pick this guy's brain. He's mind you, this was all via text. So I'm like, all right, what kind of content would you create? So he tells me, he said he wants to do comedy and car shows. So he wants to do his own bits. I was like, all right, cool. And he wants to vlog about car shows. So I'm like, all right, cool. I said, well, there's some problems and there's some flaws in your plan, and I'll tell you why. And at that point, we were on text, but I had him call me. So he called me, and he said, well, what's the flaws in your plan? What's the flaws in my plan? I said, the plan is your target audience is very limited. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, I actually have a slogan called Dare to Dream, Dream to Inspire, where we like to go out and, we like to do Toys for Tots and back to school supply drives where we, like my company, as well as with the help of you guys, like to raise money to buy back to school supplies and Toys for Tots, just to help parents out in the struggling communities, provide for their children. It's our way of giving back to the community, which which, by the way, I don't think I'm gonna do a Toys for Tots this year. Just the budget isn't there, but I'll discuss that later. So he says, well, what's and part of that is, we want better for our kids, and we want the kids to do better. Uh, better than us. We're the adults. It's our job to help them up. Help the children become better and more successful than we are. So that's my plan with this young man that I'm talking about. So he says, well, what is the flaw in the plan? And I said, well, the flaw in the plan, in your plan, is that, you want to do car shows and you want to do comedy. I said, number one, you live in the Northeast. Our winters and our cold seasons are very long here. So that means that you're going to have a few months at most to be able to record good car show content. And I said, well, if you're going to record car show content, that means that you got to be able to get to car shows. You got to be able to get there physically. And I said, and everybody knows that you're going to need to pay to get into the really good car shows. The really good car shows, you as a spectator have to pay to get in there. I was like, do you have a job? He goes, no. I said, do you have a car? He goes, no. And I'm like, all right, so you have no job and no car. So how are you going to get to these car shows? These car shows that you want to record as part of your basic content. I said, you have a limited target audience because, we live in the Northeast and you have to record these car shows that you can't get to and you don't have any money to get there. So what is the end goal here? Because not only do you not have a plan, but you don't have a way, or, you do have a plan, but there's some serious flaws in that plan. So I'm like, I'm not knocking it, but you have to realize that between, I would say, May and October, that's 5 months. So for the other half of the year, there's no car shows going on, not outdoor ones, and not here in the Northeast when it's really cold. So that means 7 months out of the year, no car shows. So you already limited your target audience. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I said, if you already limited your target audience to 5 months out of the year, you have no way to get there, and you have no way to pay for your ticket, how are you going to create content? You need to be able to make money to create content. Also, what do you really know about cars? I don't really know a lot about cars, but I pay to get into these nice car shows that I can attend to, and I don't really need to know much, but I'm like, part of it too is like, if you have no job to fund your lifestyle, both of his parents, they work, but they make enough money to make ends meet, not really extracurricular money, really, not to be able to fund a whole lifestyle and stuff. And he said, well, I also need a new camera because, the iPhone I got has a really crappy camera. Like I'm like, okay, so it sounds to me like you need to really sit down and do some thinking, because you want to start this YouTube career or this YouTube journey, but you need a camera, and the primary content you want to film, you don't have a way to get there and you don't have a way to get in. So you have 3 problems right there. I was like, all right, so why aren't you getting a job? And he said, well, because nobody wants to hire me. I'm like, okay, well, I know this kid doesn't really have a criminal record, so what else is holding you back, And he said, part of it too is like, I still got school. And I was like, you're 18, what do you mean you still got school? And he was just like, yeah, I have to repeat a year, but I'm doing all my online classes. I was like, all right, well, that should be priority number one. You want to do this YouTube thing, and you ain't, bro, you don't even got a high school diploma yet. I said, that's part of, I think that's part of why you're not getting hired. You got to get a high school diploma or at least a GED. And he's like, yeah, I know, I'm working on it. And I'm like, all right, well, you work on it, but in the meantime, you got to still get out there and look for a job. And so he says, yeah, I know. And he was like, but it's kind of hard to get a job when a lot of these jobs are far away and I don't have a way to get there. I was like, well, seems to me like you're going to have to learn how to take the city bus because that's what I did. And I either walked to get to the city bus or walked to the terminal to get to the city bus. Like, I didn't always have a ride. And he was just like, yeah, I don't know how to ride the bus. I'm like, well, good thing you got the internet, right? That'll teach you something. And I said, well, the other part of your plan is to go do comedy. I'm like, what kind of comedy are you trying to do? He's like, oh, skits and bits and stuff like that. And I'm like, skits and bits. I was like, all right, so who says you're even funny? And he's like, well, I guess we'll have to find out. I'm like, all right, well, what are you waiting for? He was like, well, I'm waiting for a few of my friends to get together so we can, do the skits and bits. And I'm like, well, that's part of the issue right there because what happens if you have a group of friends and then one of your videos goes viral or something and people realize you're just the man behind the camera, you're not even actually contributing or you're not the funniest guy in your group. All you're going to do is be promoting the funniest guy in your group. So I was like, that's part of the plan right there. Part of the failure in your plan right there. I'm like, I'm not really trying to be negative. I'm just letting you know, like, this is how people look at it, Like, you have to be, you have to start it on your own before you can start collaborating with other people, in my opinion. Yep, moments with a bitch. You are completely right, man. You are completely right. Hey, I'm on live. Bye. My mom in here trying to scare me and stuff. Crazy. Um, but yeah, so he's over here talking about, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a high school diploma, and he's like, I don't get it. All the kids in my school, they all have jobs. I'm like, all right, well, what is setting you apart from the others? And he was just like, I don't know. I was like, well, you just said they all have jobs. And he was like, well, I didn't mean all, but like most. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know what you mean. Because if you tell me all the kids in your school all have jobs before you left and started doing like, your online classes, I'm taking that at face value. I'm going off of your word. You said they all have jobs, and I'm asking you if they all have jobs, why are you so different that you don't have a job? Buy a leaf blower or a lawnmower. So that's part of the issue too. Is like, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that. His priorities are all messed up. So I'm trying to get him back on track because I'm like, look, kid, in order for you to be able to travel the world, and I'm like, I can conservatively say YouTube has bettered my life. And that's with meeting all you cool people, gaining and seeing new experiences, but also being able to document those experiences so that you guys can live vicariously through me to be able to do those things, if that makes sense. But also, I explained to him, I'm like, you have no life experience. And because you have no life experience, how are you going to get out and travel and do things? I'm like, you also have to understand that you're a guy. You know, guys have to create their value. women is, you can be young and you can go out and travel the world on someone else's dime. Guys, we don't get that privilege. I said that's what women have. They have that privilege to be able to and travel and get out and see the world and stuff. Assuming that they put themselves in the right places. But you hear all the time, like, girls will go on like paid road trips, and they'll get to travel the world and spend their parents' money to go do it. Whereas guys, we have to earn our value. So I'm like, it's different, dude. I said, you have to create your value, and I said you are only as valuable as the resources that you create and the excess resources that you create. And I'm like, you have to. I said, if you want to be married and you want to have a family one day, I said, you can't work these like dead end jobs. I said, I'm going to tell you something that I wish I would have known at your age. I said, you need to go out and pursue a trade. You need to go out and pursue a trade. You need to get into some blue collar work if you want to have at least a good opportunity or a chance to make it in this world today. I said, you need to get out there and pursue something that can be. You're leaving?
Yeah, I gotta go.
What? Give me 1 second, guys.
That's why I'm trying to say goodbye to you.
Well, it's only 10 o'clock.
It's 12 o'clock. I go.
Oh, it is?
I love you.
All right, love you.
All right, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
I'll call you during the week.
All right. So, I say to him, I'm like, you need to pursue like something blue collar, like truck driver or a welder, a carpenter, a mason, something that has to do with infrastructure. He was like, well, I apply to like at my local grocery store. I'm like, yeah, that's cool for a starter job, but I'm telling you, if you don't waste your time on those and you go to school to learn a trade, a craft, something, start young. Air conditioning, yes, dude. HVAC, plumbing, heating and cooling, something. And granted, those jobs aren't going to make you rich, but I mean, they can. They have more potential than you just stocking the shelf at your local grocery store. Now, granted, he was like, I was like, why don't you apply for like your local railroad? And his thought, he thinks so small. He has like his blinders on. He's like, oh, that's right. The railroad. They have a restaurant there. I can apply there. Like, Jay, you're missing the whole point. Apply for the railroad, sir. Apply for the railroad. Even if you become an intern, work your way in there. You ain't got nothing to lose. You're still living with your parents. You got to stop thinking small. I said, granted, if you want to get into food service, if food is your passion, then by all means, I'm not knocking it. Your ultimate goal is to become a Michelin star chef or, a hibachi chef. Cool. If that's your dream, that's your goal. Fine. I'm cool with it. If that's what you want, I have no problem with that. No problem. But I say to him, the food industry is not where you want to be. If you want to learn how people really are and how little they think of you, get into the food industry. Believe me, there's no lack of tips when it comes to the food industry, if you know what I'm saying. So if you want to be a server, you want to be a waiter, you want to be a hostess, you go ahead, by all means. But at the end of the day, you can't say that I didn't warn you, because at the end of the day, there's not really much money to be made in there, especially when you're working for someone else. So he was just like, well, what should I apply for? I'm like, apply for the railroad, dude. And he was just like, well, what would that be under? And I'm like, the railroad, dude. Just go on their website. Or you know what? What about public utilities? What about working for the town? He was like, how do I like? And he said it like almost like condescendingly, like, I didn't know you could work at the town. Like, how do you work at the town? I'm like, dude, the people that drive the plow trucks, the people that do the landscaping, the mowing on the side of the highway, the sign work, the line painting, the asphalt, the regular paving. Like, dude, yeah. You want to sniff my beard? Nice. So, but yeah, yeah, Mitch, you're right. I mean, and I'm like, dude, why don't you, for any job that you want to get, show up looking the part and be ready to work at that moment. Hi, my name is Jay. I'm here for a job. I'm not sure if you guys are hiring, but I'm looking for work. I can start right now. I'm easily trainable. I'm a good communicator. I'm a hard worker. I'll show up on time. And I said, but in this world, Jay, you have to understand your word is your bond, bro. So you can't just, he was like, oh, well, my dad said he'll get me a job at his job. And I'm like, nope, don't do that. Don't do that because then they're going to hold you to that standard. If you decide that you don't like that job no more, or you decide to come in late, or whatever the case may be, I said, those are all things within your control. If you're on time, you're late. I said, that's something that I didn't learn until I was later on in life. You know, you have to learn to be prompt with your time. You show up, and you're ready to work. So he says, well, I'll consider that, hold on one second. Let me disconnect this battery. So he said, yeah, I'll have to take that into consideration. I'm like, all right, cool. Just remember that, if someone gets you the job, they're putting their name on the line for you. Looking down on the regular job is the major issue here. Looking down on the regular job is the major issue here. If I don't put my name at the top of the leaderboard in less than 90 days, I'll leave. I don't deserve the position if I can't be the best. I even do it part time just to show. Yeah, and it's not really looking down on the regular job. Don't get me wrong, but if you, and this is what I explained to him, I said, if you want to be a regular guy, there's nothing wrong with being regular. But if you have dreams and ambitions of having a family and kids and owning a home and stuff like that, you need to have extraordinary capabilities and aspirations. You have to put extra on top of ordinary to create extraordinary because you're not going to be able to afford to have a wife, kids, and home just by stocking the shelves at your regular supermarket. I mean, I work 60 hours a week and I barely make ends meet. So, and I have a full Class A CDL and I have a blue collar job. So, yep. So I'm like, kid, you got to show up and you got to show out. You got to show them why, n- not the reason why they hired you is the right reason, but you have to show all the time why you are the best man for the job. Like you have to show them time and time again and continuously prove yourself at each and every job that you work at that you're the right candidate for the job, dude. Just because you're in doesn't mean your effort stops there. That's when you put the effort in each and every day. I said if you screw up at a job, you take accountability. I said accountability is every human's kryptonite. You show and you take accountability not just by saying sorry, but fixing it and making things right. If you're late, if you show up late, you stay late. And that's the thing. And I'm like, you have to be so valuable to them that they would think twice or three times before getting rid of you. So, plot twist. I say to him, I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't you have aspirations of going to like the military? And he was just like, yeah. I wanted to go to become a Marine. A Marine. I'm like, so tell me, what does YouTube recording car shows and recording comedy have to do with you becoming a Marine? You're 18. You're old enough to enlist yourself. You're old enough to be drafted. How, how do the two coincide? They don't. I'm like, you're on two different ends of the spectrum here, bro. I'm like, see, what you're telling me, like I already picked apart your YouTube ordeal, but you still actively want to become a Marine. He was like, yeah. I was like, do you even do PT? Do you even do physical training? He's like, yeah, on Saturdays. On Saturdays. Last I checked, defending our country wasn't just a weekend position, dude. Like, you need to get out there and get after it. Like, first and foremost, I said it. I said I would hate for this to sound like me lecturing you, but your current plan versus your life goals are not adding up. They're not lining up. Like one hand doesn't wash the other. Like I said, I could understand if you wanted to go to become a police officer, then work your way into the military or vice versa. But I'm like, you want to be a YouTube comedian and you also want to record car shows, all the while thinking that you're going to become a special forces Marine. Yeah, Mitch, I'm like, dude, he was like, well, like, I really can't do anything right now. And he was like, I do physical training and I already pass all the requirements. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, all right, let's dial it back a little bit, kid. I'm like, you, you're in online classes for your high school diploma? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, what time does that start? He goes, 6 a.m. And I think he said till like 2 or 2:30. He's online for his online courses. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. What time do you go to bed? He said between like midnight and 1 a.m. So what do you do between 2 p.m. when you get out of school and midnight? We'll say conservatively midnight. He's like, I don't know, just like hang out, I guess. I'm like, that's the problem. You're like, you're not even applying yourself, bro. You're 18, you have time, but also you're 18, you don't have time. You're already a man, which means that you are already responsible for your decisions. I said, see, again, I wish this is something when I was your age. I wish someone would have, hey, whatever you want to do to get into, start now. Like I wasted so many years of my life working dead end jobs that got me like absolutely nowhere. It wasn't until I hit the age of like 26 or 25 that I decided to go and get my CDL. I said, had I would have got my CDL earlier, I would have been making a lot more money earlier. Yep. Yep. And that's the thing. I said, I said, I support the fact that you want to go to become a Marine. Whatever you want to do in life, that's your prerogative. But at the end of the day, your current decisions are not reflecting on your end goal. So you take that how you want it, but what you're doing makes no sense to me. I'm like, why don't you go and like sign up at your like local firehouse for like EMT classes or EMS classes. And he was like, what does that have anything to do with the Marines? I'm like, you know, basic knowledge and understanding of how the human body works in times of like a life threatening injury or like a traumatic event, you are as only as good as the rest of your team, and they are only as good as you. So if you are on a squad, if you know this CPR, if you know how to apply a tourniquet, if you know how to save someone from choking, you name it, dude. Yeah, and he was just like, "Oh, all my friends, they're Marines, and you know they're waiting for me to join." And I'm like, "Yeah, well." And look, you stayed back being a class clown, and look where that got you. I said, "You got no job, you got no money, you still live with your parents." I'm not knocking that, living with your parents at the age of 18, but you got nothing to show for it, and you didn't. You have no high school diploma, you have no GED, you're sitting here telling me you want to pursue this YouTube thing, and you ain't got a lick of sense in the world to figure out how to even get started. I said, you need to make something of yourself and be something and create something of yourself before you go and chase this YouTube thing. Because privilege is invisible to those who have it, and we don't have it. We don't have that privilege. I said, you live in a first world country, you get out there and you get after it. I said, you're telling me you get out of school at 2 in the afternoon, you don't go to bed till midnight. What are you doing for the other 10 hours, Jay? Dude, I'm like, 10 hours? You could be going to work for that, bro. 10 hours. And I'm like, or better yet, physical training, learning how to read a map, learning how to follow a compass. There's so many things you could be doing, taking classes to get you closer to your goal of becoming a Marine. And I'm like, how long do you plan on staying in the Marines for? He says 4 years. 4 years. All right, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But 4 years. So what's the plan after that? He's like, I don't know. I was like, all right, well, let's work on getting you there first, and then we'll figure out what we're doing after. Charge him small amount of room and board, and just save it back for him without telling. Suggestion: charge. Oh, he doesn't live with me. It's not my kid. He doesn't. Not my kid. Also, I don't think that's a good idea because in life, that's not how it really works. Ideally, sure. Realistically, I don't think that's a good idea. I think if you charge them room and board, you use that towards expenses and stuff like that on, at the house or whatever the case may be, you know, for their part. Because that's some I get it. It's a good idealistically it sounds good, but realistically the bills aren't gonna stop. Yo, what's up, Dead Dog? Long time, brother. Hey, Dead Dog, check this out. I have been unburdened by what has been. I grew up in a middle class family. My mother worked so many jobs. But yeah, so I told him, I'm like, dude, you have to get out there and get after it. I'm like, you're wasting your life away, dude. That 10 hours a day, I said, when I was your age, I already have my driver's license. Now, I'm not trying to compare myself to you, but I'm like, dude, I started working at the age of like 13, 14. I was doing roofing and siding, I was doing landscaping, I was carrying 70-pound bundles of roofing shingles to the roof, like a 2, 3 story house. Yeah, Dead Dog, I got some progress on the wall, but I am freezing right now in this shed. Still working on the wall, but it is not done yet. I think I need to go get one more thing of concrete, to be honest with you. Yeah, one more thing of concrete. So I'm gonna see if this works. Because if this works, let's see, I got a little floodlight here. So what I'll do is I'll hook this up, make sure if this floodlight works with this Ryobi battery, then I know it's not the battery and adapter. It's the button on that. And if it's the button on that, then that whole motorcycle is going to get thrown away. Oh, look, I already got spark. So let me see. Yep, this still works. Let me just tie this around. But yeah, so I told him, I was like, why don't you look into like a trade school or something? He said, a trade school? I said, yeah, look into a trade school, figure out what they have to offer, and go there, you know? And so he looked it up when we were off the phone. He had texted me with an update. And then this kid, yep. So this still works, which means that the button on this is most likely fried. Check it one more time before I get rid of it. Yeah, I think that button is done. And I don't think I have another throttle. I'll see if I have another throttle. But yeah, so this kid tells me that yeah, I did roofing and siding and landscaping at a very young age. So I said, the problem is with the younger generations of today, you guys just want to work to make ends meet. You guys don't want to do extra. And I said, what I mean by extra, like you guys don't have the aspiration or the drive to create excess resources to then carry on your legacy. And in order for you to carry on your legacy in this world, you have to create extra, kid. Ever thought of a space heater by chance, or or use not cost effective? Actually, I have one. Let's see, what is it called? It's called a Mr. Heater. It's a propane portable heater, but it's daytime. I'm not worried about it. I'm actually about to go outside, go cut some wood. I want to get on live with you guys first before I did that. But yeah, I think the throttle on this motorcycle is fried. I don't have a let me see. Yeah, I don't have an extra throttle for it. I'm not worried about it. This is some free Spider-Man motorcycle. Yeah, I actually if you guys checked a couple videos ago, I actually pulled down some birch out of the woods up at the top. My local town people came and they cut down some of the dead standing trees, and that was like the last major thing I did with the Subaru, and I pulled those down to my house, which is right down the road. And yeah, I cut those up, and now I got them drying for firewood. But yeah, I'll take you guys and I'll show you guys the update for the wall and stuff, and show you guys how much progress I got. Then I got to just start cutting up this wood. But yeah, so then this kid, he tells me that he had texted me like the next weekend, and he was just like, hey, well, between that time and the weekend, he had told me that he needed to go down to the city hall where he was born and get his birth certificate. And I'm like, all right, cool. So why don't you do that? Then the weekend came. texts me and he says, "Hey, can you send me $20?" And I asked him, "What do you need it for?" And I'm thinking in my head that he is, down in the city where he was born, and he's trying to get his birth certificate. Maybe he didn't have enough money, or he didn't have enough money to get home. I would send him the money. Cool. Now he was like, I'm at a friend's house, and I don't have a ride home. Now, mind you, this was like a Friday. Hold on one second. So yeah, so that's one part of the wall that I did. Now I'll show you the bigger stuff that I've been working on. I still gotta wait for it to dry, but I know it's not the prettiest, but that huge stone fell out. Basically, I redid all of that stone there. So I'm gonna just give it another day or two before I start adding layers and stuff in there. And then I think the next piece of work that I gotta work on is that. And then this is the other part that I repaired. I was supposed to smooth that out, but whatever. And then I started on the steps over here. I'll show you guys. Yeah, I fixed that as well. Thank you, Felipe. I appreciate it, man. I will continue the story in a second. And then I started fixing all of the gaps in there. And I kind of ran out of concrete. But yeah, so I started probably dig a trench. I'll probably dig a trench that the rainwater could leave, because this part is like down, like it's a divot. So I don't know. So yeah, so the guy tells me that he needed $20 to get home because he slept over a friend's house and had no way home, and he's cold. He doesn't have his coat or a jacket with him. And I'm like, all right, well, that sounds like a personal problem, sir. I'm like, that really sounds like a personal problem. So he says, yeah, I won't be able to get my birth certificate until next weekend. And I called him and I said, I thought you were calling me to tell me that you were doing the responsible thing, and maybe you wanted to get yourself something to eat. You ran out of money. The train was more expensive than you thought it was, and yada, yada, yada. I said, but no, you're calling me asking me for a handout. I said, I don't do handouts. I do a hand up. I help you up, but I ain't going to sit here and give you a handout. What do I look like? Like, bro, that's not my responsibility. Oh, I found another stone that needs to get. Yes, sir, Felipe. You got it, sir. Just found this walk in my driveway. That'll be an easy fix. It looks like it's only 3 stones. That should be easy. And this is the birch wood that I do there, and I got this chunk right here. I got this one that I got to chunk up, and then this is all the birch that we got cut and split and stacked, and I got some more birch over there that needs to be split. So I'll get to that, and that's all my split and dry wood from the summer. This is recently split and dry, and I got more wood all in the tree line down that I got to go get. So yeah, so I tell him, I'm like, dude, you decided to go you decided to go down to your friend's house and get stranded there. Sorry, not sorry, bro. You're gonna have to eat that. You're gonna have to eat that $20 or whatever it is for you to get home. And he's just like, I was like, how long of a ride is it? He said it's about a 10 to 15 minute car ride to get home. I'm like, all right, so that's probably going to be like an hour and a half walk. That's all right. I said, aren't you going to become military? Cool. Rain or shine. Get up, get out. I said, I don't feel sorry for you, bro. I really don't. Because that's a decision you decided to do on your own. I said, now if you would have called me and told me like, hey, I messed up. The train was a little more expensive than I thought. I'm here at City Hall trying to get my birth certificate. It's $30. I only have $10 left to my name. Could you spot me on the 20? I would have been like, absolutely. I said, though I appreciate you being honest, I said, you decided to go to your friend's house instead of taking care of your responsibility. I said, I'll give you a hand up. I'm not going to give you a hand out, bro. So that's not something I do. I said, uh, and he kind of sounded frustrated. I said, look, bro, if you don't want my advice, just let me know now. I won't give you my advice. He was like, no, I like your advice and I appreciate your advice. I said, so if you like and appreciate my advice, I said, that's not what matters to me. I said, what matters to me is you start applying my advice. I said, because what I'm telling you now, I wish somebody like really put me through the paces and like held me to the standard that I'm holding you to now. This kid is a family member. He's a young kid, 18 years old. Told me he wanted to start a YouTube career, which I was like, oh, sweet. I made a lot of money on YouTube, and I still continue to do so. But at the end of the day, I'm like, what he wanted to do on YouTube was he wanted to film car shows and he wanted to do comedy skits. And basically, I showed him the flaws in his plan, where I told him because we live in the Northeast, car shows only happen during the warmer months, which means he only has about 5 warm months of car shows to record. And I said, and then what happens when you run out of car shows to record? Better yet, do you have a car? Do you have a job? You don't have a car and you don't have a job to be able to get to these car shows. I said, not only do you need money to get to the car show, but how are you going to get into the car show? Because most of the good car shows charge a spectator's fee. How are you going to eat? Who's going to pay for the gas? I'm like, these are all things you need to know. And I said, as far as the comedy bits, he said, oh, I'm waiting for some friends and I to get together. I said, that's your biggest problem. You need to start on your own and get it on your own. I said, because the last thing you want is a group of your friends to get together and then, your fans suddenly realize you're not the funniest person in your group. I said, if you're not the funniest person in your group, all you're doing is providing free advertising for the funniest guy in your group. And then he tells me he wanted to become military. I was like, dude, how does YouTube recording comedy and recording car shows have anything to do with you becoming a Marine? Nothing. I said, if anything, and this is the part that I left out, I said, if anything, uh, you go to the military, I said, let's say before you go to the military, your car show channel and your comedy channel, they're really starting to pick up speed. Like they're really starting to gain momentum on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. What are you going to do with that when you go to the service? He was like, oh, I plan on recording some stuff while I was in the service. I said, I don't really think that's a good idea unless you absolutely know what you're doing, because you're gonna screw around. You're gonna either accidentally or unknowingly record something you weren't supposed to record, and then you're gonna get Article 15. Article 15, you're gonna get court-martialed, bro. So that doesn't make any sense. I said, what you want to do when you go to the Marines is you want to become a gray man. I said, do you know what a gray man is? He goes, nope. I said, a gray man, you're not the worst and you're not the best. I said, you're just right there in the middle. You just blend in. Once you shave your head, you shave your facial hair, and you stand in that line. I said, you look like every other soldier. I said, you want to become a gray man. So because if you're the best, you're going to stand out, and the instructors are going to pick on you. If you're the worst, you're going to stand out, and the instructors are going to pick on you. I said, you don't get out there, you know, you don't try to become the best. You're gonna blend in. That's what you want. So yeah, this young man, I think he has a lot of potential. He just doesn't know where to channel his energy. And I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, first and foremost, you need to get the high school diploma. Even if you don't go to college, don't worry about going to college. I said, unless you want to become a lawyer or a doctor, you don't really need college. I said, I was like, I'm building a retaining wall at my house, and I only got 3 days of training at school back in high school. That was like in 2004. That was 20 years ago. And I remember that. Yep. A wise man once said, "Who would you trust more? A guy that got all his money from a trust fund at the age of 18 and blew it all, or would you trust someone who was in his 30s and 40s and earned every dime he's like who's earned all of his money the hard way?" And most people would say everybody who's earned it the hard way, because people who are given money and they buy things do not appreciate it at the same value as someone who worked very hard to get it. That's why, like, for my home, like, I break my back six. I let me back up a bit. I work 60 hours a week. I don't break my back. I drive trucks. Totally different. I mean, if I were in construction, I guess I could say that. But I drive trucks 60 hours, sometimes a little extra. And then when I get off of work, I'm still finding things to do here on my property to make sure that my family and I have a more comfortable life. And I told him, I said, if you want to become a husband and you want to become a father one day, it's okay. If you want to be a regular average guy, that's okay. But if you have dreams and aspirations of becoming a husband and a father one day, you're not going to be able to pay that on some stop and shop salary, stock shelves, bro. You're not. You're not. And that's not to put those guys down. And it's okay to be regular. I think actually it was Steve Harvey who said that. If you want to be extraordinary, you have to put extra on top of ordinary to make it extraordinary. You have to. If you have regular dreams and aspirations, you have to get out there and be something and become something. Hmm. Yep. Yep. And that's the thing, man. You have to put your time in. You have to put your time in. I said, I wish I knew what I knew now back when I was your age. And I said, I could lead you to water, bro. I can't force you to drink it. If you don't want my advice, he was like, no, I want your advice. I said, so then I need you to start applying it. Because what I'm teaching you, I said, what I'm teaching you, I never had someone in my life to teach me, what I'm going to do. I said, no one taught me to start an LLC. No one told me that when I started LLC, I could write off the camera, these these all these trips and stuff off on my taxes. Nobody told me that. I said, but when I go out filming for YouTube, those expenses, I write those off on my taxes because those are business expenses. Because YouTube generates money. I said, but you have to start generating money, dude. You have to make something of yourself first before you could start sharing that with the world and before you could start applying that to YouTube and stuff like that. You have no car, you have no high school diploma, you have no job, you ain't got nothing going for yourself. I said, when I was 18, I had two out of three of those things, bro. I had a driver's license. I was working from the age of like 13 or 14 doing roofing and siding. I said, but I said, the younger generation is different, bro. Yep. I'm like, I said, the younger generation, you guys are different. You guys only make meets to an end. You guys don't create extra. And if you guys want extra stuff, if you guys want better stuff, you guys got to start today, dude. Like, you guys don't wait on that. And I said, you know, and if you want someone to love you and take you serious as your, you know, as your companion, I said, most women they date up, bro. Most women they're hypergamous, meaning like, you know, why would she get with you when she could be with the next best guy, dude? When she could, I said, so what do you have to offer that the other guy? I said, imagine you at your best self, and then you at what you are now. Who do you think she's gonna pick? The got his stuff together. You at your best, bro. That's what she wants. Not you now. You have to build your value. Men have to create their value. Women are born with their value, bro. I'm like, nobody's gonna teach you this. I said, you have to understand that, you know, I have no skin in the game. Like I wouldn't say I have all my stuff together, but you know, I'm 34. I have a house. I paid off my girl's car. The engine in my Subaru just crapped the bed. News update. But I plan on buying another car. I mean, granted, it's really hard to save in this economy right now. So if anybody's out there doing it, kudos to you. You're right, Felipe. But also, kids nowadays spend more time on social media watching other people live their lives versus them getting out there and doing the life worth living. I'm like, dude, that could be you. I'll tell you a story. So my mom has a neighbor, and I don't think my mom's neighbor knew that I'm on YouTube. And my channel comes up on my mom's TV because my mom has a TV that has like the built-in internet or whatever, and like all the streaming services that just show up or whatever. So my mom had the TV on, and her neighbor comes over. My mom's scrolling through, I think, YouTube or whatever, and my live stream pops up with my face on it. And it's me talking about me like doing the retaining wall around my property. And so my mom goes, "Oh, look, there's my son." And my neighbor, my mom's neighbor goes, "Yeah, that does look like your son." And my mom goes, "That is my son." And my mom's neighbor starts crying for whatever reason. I don't know. And my mom's like, "Are you crying?" And she's like, "Yeah." And my mom's like, "Why?" My mom's neighbor's like, "I don't know. I think what it is like my mom's neighbor didn't know I had a YouTube channel, and like she sees me on TV and she didn't expect that." And I'm like, "Dude, mom, I made it. Like, I'm popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, your neighbor thinks I'm hot stuff now. Look at that." It was a joke, but you know, it was a joke, but there's some sentiment behind it where it's like to be able to reach a level of success, you have to put the work in. And if you don't put the work in, you ain't gonna get nowhere. Now, not everyone travels the same road. But I tell you what, sometimes the road less traveled is the more gratifying. You know, he said he wanted to wait for his dad to get him a job, and I'm like, do you really want your success? Do you really want your success to be based off of your dad getting you the job? I said, bro, you have to create your own value. Don't wait for someone to help you create it. You got to put the work in. You can't expect others to do that for you. Give me one second. I'm just snatching up my Ryobi batteries. By the way, if Ryobi's watching this, can you guys please sponsor me? Like, I need batteries. Please, Ryobi, if you guys are watching this, I need a sponsorship. Like, my entire line of tools is all Ryobi. Let me see how much. I gotta fill this with oil real quick. So yeah, so I got this Ryobi chainsaw. I wish I had more power. And hopefully one day Ryobi comes out with like an adapter, like an 18-volt Ryobi adapter, but something that you could plug into the wall. That would be cool. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much all out of the other bar and chain oil. So yeah, let me go ahead and add that before I start cutting. Oh yeah, that oil is sticky. Ow! Close that up. Yeah, so we got to go start cutting that wood over there. I figure I'll bring you guys with me. Why not, right? Get some work done around here while I'm talking to you guys and hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Safety first. I don't know where my gloves are, to be honest with you. I haven't seen them in a while. All right, tighten that up. But yeah, so then this kid, he tells me he drops out of school. Like he stops going to his night class, to his online classes. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Because I told you to start looking into, blue collar work and getting into a trade school. He was like, yeah, I did that. He was like, I decided I didn't want to do the regular school no more. I was like, that's not what I said to do, man. I said, you're putting your own interpretation on what I told you would be best for you. I'm like, you took all that out of context. You were supposed to find the school first, make sure you get accepted, decide that that's what you want to do before you quit, your regular job, your regular school, dude. I'm like, you're skipping steps. I was like, that's how you're going to wind up in more trouble than what it's worth, man. He's like, oh, I wasn't supposed to stop going to school? No, dude. Absolutely not. I was like, you're skipping steps, bro. But yeah, let's go cut up the rest of those logs over there. And wheel those down to where I'm going to set up the log cutter. Good thing is I only got to make a couple of cuts and then load up the wagon with the there's a log over here I got to cut up too. Maybe I'll start here. I got socks and flip-flops on today. Yay. I left my guide over there though. I gotta get some long some zip ties so I could tie one to the bar of my chainsaw, so I can measure like the 16 inches or whatever. If you guys don't know, like 16 inches is like typical length to cut wood into for like the fireplaces and stuff. But yeah, I got my radio flyer. I'll show you guys right here. And then I'll load logs into that. Would you believe I got this for free? And all it was missing was like some washers on the back, which I made out of old bed frame. Pretty legit, right? Alright, so here's the guide. From this bar to that edge is 16 inches. Normally what I would do is I would roll a log on top of this and then cut it. That way the chain on the chainsaw doesn't, you know, cut into the ground, but I'm starting to get pretty good at it. I'm not perfect at it, but so what I would do now is just use this as a guide. But I was listening to this guy on YouTube. I think his YouTube channel is called In the Woodyard. So shout out to him. I don't know his name, but he was saying if you took a zip tie and got a zip tie that was 16 inches long, put it right like on this part of the bar sticking out. Hang on one second. Put it on this part of the bar. Crap. Here it goes. On this part of the bar here, sticking out to like right here, you could have the end of the wood here and your chain on your bar there, you'll know where 16 inches is. So I was like, oh, that's freaking awesome. I wish I would have thought of that. Pretty freaking sweet. Alright. 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 So let's get to cutting. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but... Alright, here we go. Your 16 inches and mine are way different. Really? Alright, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just use this chainsaw real quick. I'll line that up with that. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but so I have my guide right there, and then I'll see if I could just prop you guys up like so. Maybe you guys could have watched me like so. Maybe you guys could have watched me. I'm not saying that this is going to be the angle, but we'll see. You guys can watch. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. And for some reason with these, anything less than a 6 amp an hour battery, and granted these batteries are old as dirt, so that's why I said, Ryobi, if you're watching, I need to get sponsored. But anything less than my 6 amp hour batteries, they always cut out on the chainsaw. I don't know why. So just bear with me. If it keeps cutting out, it is what it is. I'm trying to save the 6 amp hour batteries for last. And gotta check the chain tension. That seems pretty good. It's not even hot yet. See? It keeps cutting out. be able to roll that over. I might have to make another cut and like whack this with like a weight or something. There you go. Try that. Hopefully it doesn't move, right? Like if I press down too hard on it, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna just switch to the 6 because I'm tired of stopping. I think I got a 9 somewhere. So here's the 6. There's got to be something in there because, I mean, it sounds like it's hollow, but it sounds like there's something else that might be in there that's preventing me from cutting. Like a lot of dead space. There we go. See if I can lift this bad boy up. There we go. Yeah, not bad for the first cut, right? So what I'll do is I'll just line up one of these, and I'll mark that for the next cut. Right about there. Yeah, I probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rounds out of this one. This is just one tree, but it was massive before I showed you guys. Maybe I'll just judge that for here. finish the cut. Dang it. Still got good tension on the chain. See how much more I got to cut through. I might have to sharpen that chain too. Alright, cool. Got that chunk. Yeah, I think that this still got some connections in here because this is not split. If I pick it up and drop it, it'll split. Oh, man. Seems like it wants to. I don't know what's holding it though. Seems like it wants to split, but I don't know why it's not. Just that little tiny piece. Whew. Good exercise though, I tell you. Yeah, so now I got these cut. I got one more to go slab up over there. Not slab, but cut. Bring you guys. Get my chainsaw, maybe a new battery. Oh, we'll see how much juice I got left on this one. Oh yeah, I got 1 bar left on this 6 amp. And that's what I'm saying, like, so I actually found a pressure washer not too long ago. Somebody threw out, it runs, but I don't have like the working equipment to go with it. So I figure if I could get a big enough bar, maybe I'll make like a stay in place like sawmill or, you know, a lumber mill. That'd be pretty wicked. All right, so let me show you guys what I got. All right, so I got it on the edge there, and then I'm gonna mark that. Okay. Just a little bit of weight from the cell phone will make that tilt. Oh, my glasses fogged up. Let's see if I got enough strength to move this. This one is pretty savage, right? Go. Oh yeah. Cool. Got a couple chunks. Yeah, load them up into the wagon, bring them down to the log splitter. What do you guys think? I should bring the log splitter up here. What do you guys think? I got all that wood right there. Those two pieces, and I got big. What do you guys think? And then I got more chunks down that way. I think I should probably just move everything down that way because most of my setup is there. All right. Where's my wagon? Right here. You guys think I should cut those in half? This is all birch right here. I don't know. Thinking. Thinking. I don't know. Maybe I move the log splitter like right here and right there because all these cut logs are gonna, all the split logs are gonna go right there. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. All right, cool. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. I'm not gonna be able to keep moving the camera, but I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.